It started with an electric bill. That was how I found out my father had a second family. Mom had asked me to log into Dad's utility account because the notification said the bill was overdue. I punched in the password, expecting the usual boring interface. I froze. There were 2 account numbers linked to the profile. The first was ours, Unit 2, Building 7, Oakwood Gardens. The second address was one I'd never seen before, Unit 1801, Tower 3, The Vancroft. The account nickname consisted of just one word, home. I stared at the screen for 10 seconds, the blue light burning into my retinas. My house was Oakwood Gardens. So, if this other place was home, which family lived there? I didn't tell Mom. Not yet. I took a screenshot, logged out, and opened Google Maps. The Vancroft, located in the Riverside district. Average listing price, $1.2 million. 1. I didn't go home after work that day. I called an Uber and headed straight for Riverside. The Vancroft was new money, written in glass and steel. There was a fountain out front and a crystal chandelier in the lobby that looked like it cost more than my car. It was a universe away from the walk-up condo built in 2003 where I grew up. I stood outside the entrance for 10 minutes, watching the revolving doors spin. When a delivery driver buzzed in, I slipped through the gate behind him. Elevator to the 18th floor, Unit 1801. There were 2 pairs of slippers on the welcome mat outside the door. 1 pair of men's leather loafers, size 11. My dad's size. 1 pair of women's slides, pink, with a little satin bow on top. My mother wouldn't be caught dead in pink. I stood there, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I didn't knock. I crouched down and looked at the gap beneath the door. The doormat was brand new. It read, Home Sweet Home. My mother didn't speak a word of English beyond hello and thank you. I pulled out my phone, snapped a picture, and went back downstairs. I found a bench in the complex's landscaped garden and Saturday, 6:30 p.m. If people lived here, they'd be coming home soon. I waited 40 minutes. At 7:10 p.m., a woman walked in with a boy. She looked to be in her late 40s, hair done in perfect, expensive beach waves, wearing a beige trench coat and carrying shopping bags from Nordstrom. The boy looked about 18 or 19, backpack slung over one shoulder. They fobbed into the building. I watched the elevator indicator lights. It stopped on the 18th floor. 3 minutes later, the windows of Unit 1801 glowed to life. Warm, yellow light. It looked cozy. It looked like a family. I sat in the cold, staring at that window. My phone buzzed. It was Dad. Harper, honey, I've got a client dinner tonight. Won't be home for supper. I looked up at the light on the 18th floor. Okay. I hung up. 20 minutes later, a black Audi A6 pulled into the driveway. License plate 7792. My dad's car. He got out, carrying a white cake box. Magnolia Bakery. He walked into the building. The elevator rose. Another light flicked on in Unit 1801. I sat on the bench. The wind was biting, cutting through my jacket. My dad's client dinner was on the 18th floor. I suddenly remembered last month, on Mom's birthday. Dad said he had a board meeting and didn't get home until 10 p.m. There was no cake. He had said, "You're 50 years old, Susan. Why do you need a birthday party? You're not a child." I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app. I had access to Dad's personal account. I handled his taxes sometimes. I scrolled down. Every month on the 15th, there was a fixed transfer. $3,000. Recipient, Vanessa. Memo. Household. I scrolled back. January, $3,000. December, $3,000. November, $3,000. I kept scrolling and scrolling. My fingers started to go numb. The transfers went back to 2005. Every single month. Not one missed payment. 2005. I was 6 years old. I did the math in my head. 20 years. $3,000.